Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I want to say a few words about a guy called Connor Coghill, who is was a British featherweight who sadly suffered a brain bleed. This was following his fight with Hopey Price. Big shout out, by the way, to Boxing Beats and Rhymes. I first heard about this incident, the brain bleed situation for Connor Coghill on one of his. I don't know what they call them, weekly roundups. Is that what it's called? So yeah, shout out to Boxing Beats and Rhymes. But then what I did was I googled this story, read a few bits and pieces. Now, if you've seen the fight between Hopey Price and Connor Coghill, you will know that it was a very tough, arduous fight, won by on 12th round TKO by Hopey Price. But he didn't have things his own way, but far from it. I mean, in the first half of the fight, for 4 or 5 rounds, certainly Coghill was beating him to the punch, controlling the range better. I don't think I did a review for this fight, but I should have done because it was a very good one. And Coghill from Hull was definitely the underdog. In fact, he came in, he was undefeated. He came in with 14 wins, no draws, no defeats, and he had one stoppage win. Compared to Hopey Price, who was the Matchroom. This was on a Matchroom card, his own card, by the way. Hopey Price came in with 11 wins, no defeats, no draws, and I think 4 KOs. So he's slightly bigger puncher, yeah, definitely. But he was the 23-year-old prospect, and Coghill had come up the hard way, the small hall route from Hull, 28 years old, and he gave Hopey Price plenty to think about until the midway point. I think it was the 6th round. There was a knockdown scored. I want to say, if I'm doing this off memory, but it might have been an uppercut or right hand put Coghill on the floor. He got up, and then in the 11th, he battled his way through it, but Price was definitely in the ascendancy and won all the rounds from the 6th onwards. And in the 12th, Coghill was on the floor again towards the end of the round. He looked okay in the corner, came out for the 12th, got floored twice. So that's total of 4 knockdowns, and the ref rightly stopped it. I don't think you can blame anyone for this. It wasn't a fight where you thought... it actually looked like... referee was Bob Williams, I think, and he stopped it perfectly. He gave Coghill every chance, and Coghill looked fine. And afterwards, they embraced, and they had a photo taken where they're both smiling together, Coghill and Hopey Price. And you thought, this is a really good fight. No issue with the stoppage, no issue with anything really. It all looked above board. But according to Steffi Bull, who handles a lot of these guys from Hull and that area of Yorkshire, it was a case of he kept having headaches. Coghill, Steffi Bull reported this. He said on Twitter or X, whatever the hell it is, Connor had headaches since his boxing contest last week in Sheffield. Obviously, it's devastating news for Connor, as boxing has been in his life since a young age. He's stable and resting and wanting people to respect his time during this difficult period. It doesn't mention that even though he's got a bleed on the brain and he's in hospital, but there was no mention of an operation, and sometimes you don't need an operation. Sometimes the swelling can be brought down using medication. So I think he's dodged a serious bullet here, Connor Coghill, because of course people do get killed, or they have to at the very least have operations on this. It seems to me like a bleed on the brain or a swelling on the brain. They normally go together. I was going to say head to head, but yeah, they're in your head. They normally go together. And I'm no neurologist, don't get me wrong, but fortunately he hasn't had to have an operation, what I understand and what I've read is correct. But of course his boxing career is over, Connor Coghill, and that's a terrible thing. That's for him, his health comes first. Your health is your wealth, and without our health we got nothing. But it will be a big adjustment for this guy who's only 28 years old, which is no kind of age. And they do say that, athletes die 2 deaths. One is the athletic death, where they sort of become old and move on from their athletic ability, their athletic prime. It's downhill, and then when you really do hit rock bottom, you have to retire. and then you have a different life, literally, as almost like a second life. You die the mortal life that we all die. So when it comes prematurely, it can be a massive, massive negative effect. So I hope Coghill's going to be okay. Maybe he'll stay in boxing as a trainer. Don't forget, there are ways out of it. Let's not be too doom laden. You know, people have carried on. You've got Spencer Oliver, haven't you? Who's one who's carried on, sticking around boxing after a very bad injury, been in a coma and so on. And you've got the Irish lad whose name I can't remember, who's now a small hall promoter. I can't remember his bloody name. I know he was injured. Put it in the comments if you can remember the guy's name. Irish fella, injured. I want to say it was against Anthony Crolla, was it? Yeah, it might have been against Crolla. But he's now a promoter, and quite a successful small hall promoter, so I gather. So yeah, all the best to Connor Coghill. Thoughts for Hopey Price as well, because this can't be easy for that lad. He's only 23. And these things happen. It's an accident. I watched that fight. It was a tough fight, but everything looked fine to me. Looked legit to me. It's not like the fight carried on too long. But yeah, thoughts for Hopey Price. Obviously, thoughts for Connor Coghill. And yeah, these things happen in boxing, don't they? But if you've got any comments, leave them below. By all means, yeah, I'll have a read of your comments as usual. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the like button and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Much appreciated, as always, is your time. And I'll catch you later. Bye for now.